Hello friends, today I'm going to try to do the 5-volt mod on the Mavlink OSD. Now this is different than the minimal OSD. This is made by Mavlink and there's no solder pads on this to connect the 5-volt and the 12-volt sides together. Those of you that don't know how this works, this side of the board gets power from your flight controller and powers the 5-volt side of the board, the digital side. And this side is the analog side, which gets 12-volt power from your video transmitter and usually sends 12-volt power out to your first-person view camera that runs off a 12-volt. But I am running my first-person view camera. I'm using my GoPro, which we don't use any 12-volt power on that. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the voltage regulator, which converts 12-volt power from these pins and converts it to 5-volt power to this side. And we are going to solder a couple jumper wires in, which I'm about to make here, and then you will only need 5-volt power coming from your flight controller, and that reduces some video interference that can come from the 12-volt side. There's a lot of info about the minim OSD on how to do this, but very little info on the Mavlink OSD version 2.0. So first thing we're going to do is tin up a couple of these wires quick so we can easily solder them to the board on each end of these leads. This is called tinning the wires. That one's done. Now this is some pretty delicate solder work here, very intricate. My tip seems to be a little blunt for this, but I think we can get it to work. If not, I'll probably be out and have to buy another OSD module. We are going to run a wire from the negative of that pin right there, the negative in, and we're going to solder that to the ground over here on the input side from the telemetry or the flight controller. So we'll attempt that first. And there we have it. Jumper wire connected from the ground to the negative. We're going to stick the 5-volt positive wire through one of those tiny holes in the board. Now this is going to be the really tricky part. We're going to solder to this side of this little round guy that says 330 on it. this is the part you really don't want to mess up. I'm pretty shaky right now. I think I drank a little too much coffee. Okay, I think that part's done. Now I just barely touched it. You don't want to heat it up too much and burn anything up. It's a little bit of extra, just nip off. Same as on this side. On this side, you want to attach that wire to the 5 volt in. Son of a... Well, I hope this works. When I soldered the ground to, or the 5 volt to the 5 volt, the solder connected right there because it's so close together. So I had to take my X-Acto knife and a hacksaw blade, and hopefully those aren't touching at all. You don't want those to touch. I don't know if you can solder the ground to this one that says black. I don't know if they're the same. But here's what you're basically going for. The ground to the negative and the positive 5 volt from your flight controller to go through one of them little holes and go to this side of this little 303 board right here. Alright, that is the 5 volt mod for the Mavlink OSD. This isn't the Minim OSD. That has little solder pads, which makes this process a lot easier. So the only thing we can do now is plug this into the drone, and hopefully it doesn't burn up. Here goes nothing. Alright, it looks to be working. Now both sides of the board are getting their 12 volt power. That's what that red light there and that red light there means. The only thing I can do now is hook up my on-screen display and make sure that it still works. So thanks for watching the 5 volt mod on the Mavlink Minim OSD. Alright guys, just to make sure everything's working out, here is my on-screen display, or my first-person view screen, and when I plug my drone in, it should come up with a whole bunch of numbers on here coming from my OSD. Let's see if it works. Huh, check that out. 5 volt mod complete. on-screen display is working, as you can see. Now, before, you needed a 12-volt power source coming from your video transmitter going to the analog side to supply 12 volts of power to this board, which would then be reduced down to 5 volts to power that. Now there is no 12 volts at all going to this board, only 5 volts from this side. Then now when I plug my GoPro into the ground and the video in, it'll put whatever the GoPro sees behind the overlay of the on-screen display. I hope you guys learned something from this. Thanks for watching. Remember, go on Facebook, look up Drone Plus. It's a great group of guys. They know a lot. They know what they're talking about. They won't bash ya. Drone Plus on Facebook. Alright, have a great day. Happy flying.